in Namibia, in Botswana, Nigeria, and Ghana. And we are looking now, working with Sevilla in Spain and also in Greece. Today I have discussions with the team in the Emirates, in the UAE. And the big story that I wanted to tell you beyond a special offer that I'm going to make to the diaspora is that Jamaica is also suggesting to the world that on the 17th of February, starting this year and every year after, the world should stop, pause to reflect on the critical importance of building resilience. So we will be establishing in Dubai at the Expo during Jamaica Week on the 17th of February, the first ever Global Tourism Resilience Day. And for that, we have had the support and the endorsement of the great gatekeepers of tourism in the world, UNWTO, WTTC, PATA, and today we had the OAS confirming their endorsement, and we await the endorsement from the UN and other such bodies. So while we try to indicate the power and strength of this great destination as a wonderful place to be, we are also saying that we have a greater contribution to make, and that is to help the world to understand how to deal with disruptions, how to identify, how to mitigate, how to manage, how to recover, and how to recover quickly, and then to thrive afterwards. So finally, I say that the invitation to the diaspora to always come home is very evident, and Philip, you do a good job in the United States with Donnie and the rest in getting that message out. And so this is the 60th anniversary of our independence. And I know that Minister Grange is going to be coming on this program and connecting with you and giving you the full details. I don't want to steal her thunder, but I want to say that we're creating a very special package for the diaspora at Jamaica's 60th anniversary package, which we're going to be calling 60-60, right? So during the fall, from the mid-August to mid-December, we'll be creating a special package for a $60 US package per night for 60 couples that we will do a special program on, and Philip, you will lead that program for us so that we can celebrate with 60 Jamaican couples at a rate of $60 per night for the period August through to December. Much more details will be given on that later on, and we hope that we'll be able to use that as a point, not to lure everybody in, but to indicate that the 60 means something, and we want you to be a special person in that 60th anniversary celebration through tourism. So you will be our guests, the 60 couples over that period. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Minister, and thank you for that wonderful offer to our Jamaicans here in the diaspora and who are constantly giving back. So I'm very happy that we have something to give while we are saying welcome home. I know there are lots of questions for you, but right before we get into the questions, I want to just pause again to give away another prize. And this prize is to the person who logged on as the 60th person to log on tonight. And that person is from Atlanta, Jackie Pummels Watson. Is Jackie Watson able to unmute? And we want to just recognize her.
Thank you.
She also will get a gift basket.
Appreciate it.
Wonderful. And I also want to recognize some of our other diaspora leaders that we did not recognize earlier. Dr. Alan Cunningham from Southeast, Mr. Leo Gillen, Dr. Jackie Watson, and I think we'll do more as we go along. Let me just say, great to have you all here. And now we go straight to some questions for the minister. And we start with Ms. Taylor, you will let us know what questions, helping with the questions for the minister. Minister, you'll need to come back on and just hear from our participants.
Yeah, I'm here, don't worry. I'm here and listening.
Okay, I know we have now gone live on Facebook. Thank you, Dr. Dunkley, and I think we're also on YouTube. So we are now starting the live streaming, but for those on this Zoom call, we will be looking at we'll be taking your questions now. Ms. Taylor?
Thank you, Ambassador. So I will read 3 questions. The first is, would you say tourism is still the leading sector contributing to GDP? The second, what are the plans for tourism in Port Antonio and the development of resorts in that area? And the third question is there any effort to brand and promote marijuana and its byproducts to enhance the tourism industry?
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Ms. Taylor. Firstly, the answer is unqualified, yes. The growth that we have indicated to you in my comments, 3 consecutive quarters of growth, Jamaica's tourism has contributed in the first quarter growth of 330%, second quarter 274%, and the third quarter 114%. When that, of course, is narrowed down into the actual points in relation to the growth level itself, tourism is contributing 3% of the, in first instance, the 13% that we had. Then it provided 5% of the second quarter, and now it is at 7% of the third quarter. So tourism continues to provide the jobs. When we look at the fact that our recent employment survey indicated that we are now at 7.1% unemployment. We brought back some 70,000 jobs in the last year. Overall, tourism's contribution to that was significant too. So in terms of GDP contribution, we have yet to see that figure in the last year, but prior to COVID, we were at 10% roughly of GDP. And that, in fact, when looked at what we call the induced and indirect contribution, was more like 30%. Just to make the point that in terms of foreign exchange generation, the transfers or remittance, it leads now with over 2 billion, I think closer to 3 billion, whilst tourism is now at 2 billion, going back to its 3.7 billion that it was as the leading foreign exchange provider before COVID. The Port Antonio is the gem that we need to burnish. And I was there only 2 weeks ago. We spent some time looking at the potential again for development there. If you heard me earlier, I mentioned that I think we are, this wave of investment, we are at the limit as to what we call the all-inclusive and the mass tourism. I'm going straight after the higher end, less density, with more resort villages type and more villa and condos and apartments. So Port Antonio is that center for that higher end of the market. And we're going beyond Port Antonio. We're going to be taking you into the St. Thomas area that I mentioned of the new destination that we're creating over there. So that arc, we're building the highway, the South Coast Highway, which is connecting Kingston through St. Thomas into Port Antonio to connect with the North Highway that we now have. And that will open the area for these kinds of development. Sanders has indicated that the Dragon Bay Hotel, which is a high-end hotel, will be refurbished, and that hopefully we'll have that within the next 2 years. And I had some discussions with some of the local investors there who also are entrepreneurs and have a large portion of the real estate in the parish, about making that available, making connections with some of our big international partners as well, so that we could do the really higher end product that will be value added, that will enable Jamaica to grow stronger. Finally, the issue of marijuana. Well, you know, the issue of nutraceuticals, I think, is one that excites the tourism product and the attractions, but also health tourism, health and wellness, which is a very important part of the new product dynamics that we're going to be embracing. And I think that marijuana and its applications, commercial use in terms of recreational use, we are not encouraging, but definitely medical use, yes.
Thank you, Minister. Yes, thank you, Minister. We'll also now go to, we have persons asking questions on Facebook, on the chat, and on YouTube. But we are going to go to persons on the Zoom now who raise your hand. Yes, we have raised hands. So we'll go first to Dr. Karen Dunkley. Dr. Dunkley?
Thank
You're
you.
muted.
Yes, I'm able to unmute now. Thank you so much, Ambassador Marks, for having us on the first of the year Let's Connect. And thank you and congratulations to Minister Bartlett on a demonstrated record of performance in tourism, certainly for Jamaica and the rest of the region. You spoke, Minister, about sustainability and resilience, and certainly you have no better promoters and marketers of brand Jamaica than those of us who live in the diaspora. My question to you is emanating from the Jamaica Stock Exchange 2021 conference, where we now know that COVID-19 has brought into sharp focus that 70% of raw materials from tourism need to come from our local sector. And based on the experts, I think we're probably still at a little bit around 20%. So hearing your commitment to sustainability and resilience, can you talk a little bit about what the tourism ministry is doing to bridge the gap between tourism and agriculture so that we can have more money pour into our local economy? Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Doc. And just to indicate that I'm very heartened by the knowledge that you have of what we are doing, and more importantly, the ability to quickly discern that the nexus between tourism and agriculture is so critical and vital. The truth is that 42% of the expenditure of the visitor is on food. And food is at the heart of why people travel somehow all over the world. It's amazing. So if we're looking at the $9 trillion spent by the tourism sector globally in 2019, easily we could say that a little over 4.5 or nearly 4.5 trillion of that was on food alone. So if we are able to build out the production requirements for agricultural supplies in the industry, Jamaica, just by agriculture alone, would be wealthy. We have recognized that we have to move away from the traditional way in which we produce in the agricultural sector to enable us to have a level of sufficiency of supplies that will meet the need, the daily need of the tourism sector. 4.3 million visitors we had in 2019, and that's where we're going. By the end of 2023, we should be there again. This is a good opportunity for us to reset that process, to bring larger farmers into play, to bring more acreage into place, and also to educate the farmers better in terms of production methods and practices. So tourism has been doing that through the Tourism Enhancement Fund and the linkages department that we've established. We've spent millions of dollars in the last 2 years in particular, and even during the pandemic, to buy equipment for farmers and to give to farmers. We are now in a program with the World Bank for, I think, $40 million to build capacity in our local farmers to supply for tourism. We've used technology also to create an app that will connect the farmer with the hotels so that the little farmer anywhere in St. Elizabeth or wherever can be in direct touch with the supplier and the purveyors within the industry, so trade can take place. And that's a very important point of connectivity that we have been able to establish. Now, we have to look at agro-industry as well. So more factories have to be built to do canning and to create the necessary production outcomes for tomato paste, for pepper mash, for nectars and jams and jellies, and all of those items that are utilized so heavily in the tourism industry. Today, for example, as I said, PM and I were in the Bahamas looking at some products, and we're saying that just take eggs, for example, to produce the eggs that the industry required is a massive task overall. And we can have communities that are producing these along with the big companies that also are involved in it. So we are providing now through loans at the Exim Bank. The Tourism Enhancement Fund put 1 billion Jamaican dollars in the Exim Bank to be on lend to small and medium enterprises producing goods for the industry, including farmers and including community providers. And we're emphasizing community providers because it is so easy for the little farmer to just move his supplies straight across the road to the hotel. And I have a good example to give you. In Lilliput, which nobody would regard as being a production center for any agricultural goods, we have been able to set up backyard farms in there with locals, and they supply tomatoes and lettuce, fresh lettuce and tomatoes and pepper and so on across the road to Iberia Star. And that's the kind of thing that we want to encourage more in various other areas across Jamaica. So while we are looking at the larger farms, we just had 2 1,000-acre farms put to producing winter vegetables for the industry. And we are trying to convert some of the old sugar lands also for that production. We are also encouraging local people within the tourism areas to produce the eggs and the poultry meat and the fresh fruits and vegetables that the industry will need.
Thank you, Dr. Dunkley. Thank you, Minister. I know you'll have to go shortly, but we have 2 more questions. And I also want to make sure that every persons were paying attention when you're speaking. So we heard that you have a target this year of 4.3 million persons to come back to Jamaica. But during the COVID period, the height of the pandemic, you were able to get a certain number of visitors back to Jamaica over the past year. And so I want to just ask the audience, the first person that can give the answer after listening to you, what is the number of persons you have brought back over the past year? How many millions? I want to hear, I want to see. Philip, you're not allowed to answer. Nobody associated with you.
And no tourism worker.
No tourism worker. Ms. Taylor, who has answered that question? I want to know who has
It's
answered.
in the chat, please.
Sorry?
I was just telling the participants to put the answers in the chat so we can see, not raise their hands.
Well, I'm seeing some of the answers going there. Some are close, some are close. Some are very close in terms of I'm not sure whether they are saying dollars or they are saying number of visitors.
Okay, if you're listening, you'd have heard you brought in a certain amount in money too, certain billions.
Yes, yes, yes.
Millions.
I think some are putting money
You know
and
what?
some are putting.
You know, if you answer, you'll get a prize, and it's a big prize.
Well, I see a correct answer here. At least
Well,
that's
I
it.
check, Ambassador, you can go ahead and we can, I'll convene with JTB staff.
Follow that correct answer, the person who did it, so we can give that person 1 week, 1 week for 2 hotel stay at Jewel Grand in Montego Bay. Who is that person?
Wow.
Not that.
Go ahead, Minister, the person that you saw.
No, and I can't recall the name because
Oh,
they
you
keep
did, okay.
flashing, they keep flashing across the screen.
Oh.
It
But
was Rudy Page from London.
But somebody answered correctly.
Somebody mentioned the name.
Rudy Page from London, Minister Bartlett.
Oh.
Well, if that is so, I'm sure Miss Taylor will collaborate.
Thank you, Miss Taylor.
No, Ambassador,
Yes.
just give me a few minutes and let me confirm and I'll come back to you after.
So since
Because it's going pretty quickly.
all right, so the answer is 1.6 million visitors or $2 billion in revenues. So anyone that got either of those would have won that prize.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so call out the first
person would have been
If you had
Edmond.
more than one person winning that, I could look at involving them in the 60 by 60.
Excellent, excellent.
Right.
Great.
The person,
Ambassador,
yes.
Edmond Loban. That's the first person to have said 1.6 million.
Okay, great. So can you identify, Mr. Rabon? And Minister, let me just identify 2 other persons and have
It
them.
had to be a Edmondy.
As long as there's no relationship, otherwise, we're going to identify Daniel Coswell and Mr. Ian Edwards, who both had their hands up, and just ask them to unmute. And we will, did Mr. Loban unmute? And we'll just identify him and he will get his prize of a week for 2 at the wonderful, beautiful Jewel Grand Hotel in Montego Bay. And we have the couples prize coming up at the couples resort, so stay tuned. But Mr. Edmond?
Yes.
Yes. You have just won yourself a beautiful prize. Where are you? There you are. Okay.
I think I just saw him, his face from the screen a while ago.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much, Minister. I appreciate it.
Okay.
Very well, Edmund. Congratulations. I look forward to seeing you myself when you come.
Okay, great. So we'll be in touch with you. Please send us your details in the chat of how we can contact you.
Thank you.
We go straight now to Ms. Coswell, Janelle Coswell, and Mr. Ian Edwards, please also unmute. Minister will have to leave shortly, so I'll take 2 more questions.
Thank you very much, Ambassador Marks. And I have to say, I've been quite enjoying these wonderful online forums and talks, and it's really a wonderful way to engage the diaspora. So thank you so much for hosting. And Minister Bartlett, it is really a pleasure to see you again, sir. The last time we saw each other was at the opening of the GTRCRC at the UE, and we were in Guatemala that year as well.
Okay, of course, yes, you were.
No, I'm very, very, very happy to hear you say that you are focusing on high-end tourism for the Portland Parish. I actually worked for a month from Port Antonio in December, and the kind of tourism that Portland is designed for is really more along the lines of the higher end eco-tourists, and that's what you'll find there now. My question is actually, it's a 2-parter. The first part is, will the GTR CMC be playing a role in the the sustainable development of the Port Antonio area. And because I'm based in Charlotte, North Carolina, I also want to know if there are any plans in place to really capitalize on the market here in Charlotte that is growing exponentially. And there are direct flights from Charlotte to Montego Bay.
Mhm. Okay, thank you so much. And I look forward to seeing you in Jamaica again.
I will look forward to seeing you again
Yes,
soon,
yes.
Minister.
Indeed. So now the
GTRCMC.
Yes, GTRCMC will in fact be working a little closer with the Alligator Head Foundation in Port Antonio. They're doing a tremendous job in restoring, the fish sanctuaries to build back your reefs. And I was there with them 2 weeks ago, just before I went off to Fitur. And we went on the dust bottom boat to see that turtles are coming back into our areas as we drove. We went across into Blue Lagoon, and we see that marine life is restored in those areas, and the fisher folks who used to spearfish these fingerlings and these young fish growing are now involved in doing deep sea dives and also being cameramen, looking for reefs and looking for other types of marine activity out there. So we are seeing also that technology is being used to assist in converting some of even the algae. If you recall, we had some case with sargassum recently, and we were able to trap the sargassum, bring it aboard, and with 3D technology, make different types of equipment and implements with it. So we are seeing that the whole business of building better, but building in harmony with nature, protecting and being stewards of the environment are now paying off, and citizens are seeing, communities are seeing that it is beneficial so to do. So we will continue to work with the Portland group, as we will extend that into other areas. Charlotte, yes, of course. We are getting some new flights out of those areas, and I think that Philip will have something to tell you about some new flights to American Airlines out of Texas and Houston, Austin, Texas, and in that entire belt with Charlotte. So we are excited about being able to serve that community better and to create greater connectivity from the middle of this year onwards.
Hey, thank you. Thank
Wonderful.
you.
Thank you so much, Minister.
Thank you very much for your question. I will know, but just before we go to Prime Ministers, you have to announce another prize. Let me ask, this is another big prize for the person who can tell us from what minister's remarks. A big day is coming up on February 17th. Tell us, what is it that minister is launching in Dubai?
It's 6th. Oh no, the 17th of February.
17th of February. Who's that?
Yeah, that's the
17th, Global Resilience Day.
Resilience
yeah,
Day.
February 17th. I can't remember.
Global Resilience Day.
I said it.
Global Diaspora Resilience Day.
Was that Dr. Beverly East? Her voice sounds familiar.
Yes, it's Beverly E. speaking.
I'm an expert at writing, but I'm an expert at recognizing a voice.
All the Global Diaspora Resilience Day.
Global Resilience
I have
Day.
a prize for you of a flight, an airline ticket to Jamaica from JetBlue.
Wow, wow, congratulations. Very good.
Congratulations.
Who is that for?
Why don't we have everyone put the answer in the chat, because sometimes two people could come in at the same
Yeah, I
time.
thought I came in and said it verbally.
All right, if
I
you did,
I do
just make a note. Miss Taylor, just make a note of the other person. They'll be included in another prize for the 60th.
Me too.
we have lots of prizes and we want to encourage you to participate.
Yeah, I had put up my hand and nobody has asked me anything.
Me too.
Yeah, man, I was the first person to put up my hand, but hey.
Because we asked for individuals to type it in the
So
chat.
we got to go, so I'm going to know.
Right, so unfortunately, we can only take one more, yes.
More
But I
questions.
want to come back, I want to come
Okay,
back.
thank you, Minister. It's an honor for me. I know we play football and cricket together. It's an honor to be on the program. I will take my prize now. I will take it in August because we're going to be having a big celebration in August town, which will be celebrating the 180th anniversary. Honorable Minister, and the African Garden, we have an African Garden Farmers Market.
Yes, yes.
Fantastic job. And I tell you, I have been representing Jamaica over 30 years, and I could not let this go by. As you see how high my flag is flying, I've never retreated my flag from representing Jamaica. And it's an honor for me to see the wonderful and the tremendous job you're doing. And we're presently working with the young people in Jamaica. I'm on the task force for crime and intervention, and we are trying to do.
Yes.
Roden, I want you to
Thank you very much.
We will ask you to ask your question because we have actually recognized Ian Edwards. So ask your question and then so that minister can get 2 questions and be on his way. He has told us he has.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. So Honorable Minister, I'm inviting you personally to our launching in August town on the 1st of August.
1st of August. Well, nice to hear that, Dean. If you remember, I initiated the August Town month in August.
Okay.
And
It's far coming from. Yeah, I know that. I know that. That is a pleasure seeing you again.
Okay. Well, nice to see you, and thanks for the work that you continue to do with the young people in the August Town Hermitage area. Appreciate it very much. Thanks.
Thanks, Mr. Roden. And now for the final question from Mr. Ian Edwards.
Thank you, Ambassador, and want to say thank you, and it's an honor to speak with the minister. I think I can say without fear of contradiction, the hardest working tourism minister in the world. And I know this because I get some daily tourism dispatches. I've been involved in, the whole tourism arena behind the scenes in another hat I used to wear as part of the Caribbean Media Exchange on Sustainable Tourism. And I'm sure Mr. Bartlett knows about that.
Yes.
So a lot of us, at the informal level, we do promotion of brand Jamaica. And I was somewhat disappointed in December, because I was in Jamaica at the beginning of December, end of November, beginning December. And a neighbor of mine from I think October, he had asked me, he wanted to take his wife to the Caribbean. And I said, but you come to the right man, and Jamaica is the only place. And he had me over his house, and we made the reservation right there and then. And then coming up like 3 weeks before the time, he said, because he has to do with the Defense Department, DOD, and he said DOD was discouraging them from going to Jamaica. And that was like a major stab in my heart. So the question is, and it wasn't over coronavirus, by the way, it had to do with security, because I told him I had just come back, and first of all, I never saw anything that I would consider to be security threat. How much is being done to really promote this thing and to assuage the effects of crime and violence on the tourism industry?
Right.
Thank you so much.
That's a big elephant in the room. We have been working our way through this because Jamaica has this wonderful reputation in the marketplace as being a safe and secure destination for our visitors. It is something of an anomaly, perhaps even a point that is contradictory in sorts, that we do have issues at home on the domestic front, but it never bleeds into, our hospitality arrangements. And I think that that's the reason 42% repeat business we have. And in the same way that you testified as to how, seamless and safe your vacation was, that's the same response that you're getting from almost everybody, 1 in 2 of everybody who comes to Jamaica. And I think that, we have to make that point a little stronger, because all countries have domestic issues. All our neighbors have domestic issues. The great United States have domestic issues, and we struggle with them. We all fight to make a better place for each other. But the good news is that we do not, and I'm happy to say that, we do not make our domestic issues bleed over into our hospitality arrangements.
Thank you, Minister.
Thank you, Minister. Now, Minister, I know you have to go, but let me just ask the Consul General from Miami, Mr. Oliver Mayer, did you have a comment or question for Minister? I usually give that courtesy to my colleagues. Mr. Mayer?
Thank you so much, Ambassador. Just to say that very interesting conversation, very good presentation by Minister. You have the assurance from us here that we'll continue to spread the good word of Jamaica being an excellent destination and all the lovely attractions. And again, that's very informative. I'm going to re-listen to it. But thanks again, Minister. And thanks for always being so accessible. And Ambassador, another great session. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. And keep on, Oliver, doing the great job you're doing in that wonderful Kingston 21.
Thank you, Minister.
And Minister, we have 6 other honorary consuls here from around the United States. They're on listening to you. Do you have anything that you want to say?
Yes, I want to thank you very much for being the critical arm of diplomacy in your own towns. The value of you to us is inestimable. We certainly couldn't be able to pay you for the good job that you've been doing. The influence that you provide for us, how you've been able to channel us through the halls of power, and the centers of influence in your areas. And you've given Jamaica a good picture at all times. We do appreciate you. And for your own personal, contribution by way of your own resources, because a few people very few people realize that you do this thing voluntarily, that you actually invest your own resources in enabling Jamaica to have a good image and for Jamaicans to have a reference point in your communities. So we do appreciate you, and we want you to know that that's coming deep from the heart of a grateful nation.
All right. And Minister, do you have a question that you'd want to ask Jamaicans here in the United States? And I must also mention we have Jamaicans from Bermuda, we have Miss Wilson Burt, we have Oliver Gray from Mexico, and I saw from London. So we have Jamaicans all over listening to you tonight. Did you have a question? Because I have another big prize, and I think I should give that big prize on your question, which is 4 nights, 4 days, 3 nights at the couples resort. What question do you have that you would want to ask, Minister?
Okay, but my question is, on which day of God's creation did he make Jamaica?
Every day.
The eighth day.
Yeah, man, Dean said it first. Dean said it first.
First day.
I have a lot of answers and they're all correct. So I'm going to find the first person that gave that answer.
Wow. Readers lights it up.
Okay.
That's what he said, but it was created from when the rest of the world was done.
Wow.
God created the land before
The last
he
day.
made man.
That's the answer. The last day.
No,
It was the first day. The first day.
First day when he parted the sea.
Eighth day.
The
day of revelation.
The 8th
Man
day.
was created on the
He said, let there be
6th day,
light.
and God.
All right, we have to mute you all because we don't want to take over. We will recognize the person who did it first. Let me get Minister, unmute Minister, please.
Ambassador?
I'm unmute Minister.
Yes, I think it's a good note on which to end. And I want to thank you all. It was a great hour and a half. I appreciate it deeply. And I really want to do it again, Ambassador. Thank you for this outreach. You know, it's a great way to talk to each other and to remain connected, to remain together, even though we are apart. Thank you, T. God bless.
Thank you, Minister. And I know you traveled today. I know you have been traveling for the past weeks, and it was very hard for you to also be here tonight. So thank you for making it. We appreciate it.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Good luck with everything you're doing, and congratulations. Well, we have Mr. Philip Rose is still here with us from the JTB. So we will continue with the discussions, and we will continue with a couple questions. But Ms. Taylor, can you let us know who won the prize to the couples resort?
Well, we should, in the chat, Ambassador, the first person to, it's interesting. I saw a Nevland Lazonia read, and I thought if this was a correct question, how fitting, because here it is, we're handing out a prize for couples. And
West Coast couple too. We're often forgotten. Yeah, Les.
Did you unmute that couple?
I'm here.
Did you get that name? Can you repeat the name, please?
Neville and Lazoria Reed.
I'm here.
They're unmuted.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes, there you are.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we're hearing you. Yes. So we have won the prize for couples for 4 days and 3 nights at Couples Resort. Congratulations.
Yay!
And his wife just had a birthday too, so that's a good celebration gift. Congrats, Lars.
Great, great, great. I'm glad to hear. All right, so we'll now go back to some more questions and a few more prizes. Can we recognize, and Mr. Rose will answer the question from Jerry Steele. Did you have your hand up? Jerry Steele? Yeah, unmute, please.
No, this is Jerry Steele. I'm in Minnesota.
Oh, okay.
And I live in Minnesota for the last 50 years. And I used to do a lot of business in Jamaica, but not anymore. But I'm looking to get restarted, and I wanted to know how are we doing with ecotourism?
Ambassador, is that a question for me?
That will be a question for Mr. Phillips. I was directing the question to.
Oh, Mr. Steele, yes, thank you. Before I attempt to respond, if you would permit me to also acknowledge another member of my team here, Victoria Harper, who has been doing a fantastic job for us for, well, I won't say how long, because that will also date her. She's been holding down the fort in the Northeast for a long time, and she's been on the call with us today. So I just want to say hi, Victoria.
She looks like a teenager. Hi, Victoria.
Right.
Always good.
Sir. Happy New Year, Ambassador. Great to see you. Thank you very much.
You know, my area of, and I should also say that Jamaica is leading 1 lane against Mexico. So we're happy about that.
Oh, yes. All right.
Yeah. My area of expertise is really tourism marketing. Having said that, I'll make an attempt to respond as best as I can on the topic of eco tourism. Jamaica has always recognized the need for ecotourism offering for a number of reasons. One, from an economic standpoint. Two, because it's quite simply the right thing to do. And three, it is the only way that any destination in the Caribbean can really ensure that we have a tourism product to enjoy for future generations. As far as going into the nitty-gritty of which resort is doing what, I am not equipped to respond to that, but what I can tell you is that we have several resorts that have been awarded eco awards, if you will. At the risk of getting myself in trouble, I'll tell you that Sanders Resorts, I know, is one that comes to mind. The Half Moon Hotel in Montego Bay has also won numerous eco awards. I personally believe that we will do more. Not only can we do more, but we will, because there's a DNA within us to be leaders in this sector. And in most things tourism related, Jamaica tends to come out in the front and on top. I'll also close by saying that the market has been telling us that globally they want to see more of an eco-friendly offering. And the good thing is that we kind of started doing it even before the market told us that. So we're somewhat ahead of the curve.
I would like to share with you that Minnesota and the people of Minnesota, you know, been here for 50 years, they love Jamaica. And again, you know, we used to have a very strong president of the Jamaica Tourist Board here in Minnesota. In the past few years, we don't see that anymore. So I think we used to have direct flights from here to Montego Bay, and we don't have that anymore. And I wonder what happened.
Well, you have from Minneapolis, you have Delta Airlines out of Minneapolis, and you have a charter being operated by Sun Country. As far as the presence that you once had in Minnesota, it makes me smile because I was one of those persons who used to frequent Minnesota when I was younger, and I could handle the cold. I'm not quite sure how you've been able to withstand that cold for the past 50 years. But we have representation in the Midwest. But like everything else, we're government, okay? So I'm very proud to say that the Jamaica Tourist Board operates a very lean operation. So we don't have the proverbial human footprint across the United States that we once had. We now work virtually, and we have 2-3 persons, in the Midwest, and they do visit Minneapolis, Minnesota, as needed. I know that up until I think 2 weeks ago, they led a sales mission up there. Perhaps I should message them and encourage them to reach out to you, sir, to see if there's something on the diaspora level that we can do. Because, and I'll close with this, no matter how good we are, and the JTB is fantastic. I know I've said that too many times in this Zoom. No matter how good we are, we need the support, the continued support of the diaspora. You are our, I guess, extended sales force. So we will make every effort to reach out to you during our next trip up to the cold region that you're in.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. We have 4 more questions, and then we will just focus on more prizes. But before we go to the next question, I think Steve Higgins, Andrew Sharp, Sharon Seymour, and Patrick Beckford. Let me ask a question from the Let's Connect series. The first person that can name 4 previous guests on Let's Connect will win a prize of an airline trip to Jamaica, courtesy of Southwest Airlines. So who is the first person can give us 4 previous special guests like Minister Bartlett tonight, our special guest over the last year. 4 special guests.
Shaggy, Minister Bartlett.
In the chat, you must do it in the chat. Sorry, I should have told you. Do it in the chat.
Oh my, other persons might just.
No, that's just one. That's just one. Go ahead. Put it in
And Minister Bartlett and
no,
Google.
No, mute all. Put it in the chat.
I'm sorry.
All right. While you're doing that, let me just on mute please for Ms. Steve Higgins. Video on the Steve Higgins. Steve, I want to hear your question. Steve? Just press on mute. Steve is not responding. All right. Let us go to
I will refer to Mr. Steve.
Steve? Okay, go ahead.
Did you say go ahead, Steve?
Yeah, Steve Higgins?
Yes, Steve Higgins, yes. I'm particularly good evening, Ambassador. How are you?
Fine, thank you.
Lovely. As you're aware, I'm particularly interested in cultural tourism. I was very heartened by what the minister had to say. And part of my own personal mission is to spread our culture through our Jamaican folk culture, specifically folk music. In fact, I have a tour of the US and England and some parts of Europe this year. Is there any, and perhaps this was for the minister, is there any initiative that's being driven on cultural tourism?
There are good representatives here. I think either Philip or Victoria can answer most questions. Mr. Rose, you want to go ahead?
Absolutely, Ambassador. Thank you. Steve, good to see you, even though your camera is off.
Oh, I'm sorry. Hold on. I'm from the country, you know. There you go.
Good to see you, man. Doing some wonderful work. I've been following you online. This is the perfect year to have that question asked.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, man. Thank you, Steve. This is the perfect year to have that question asked. One of the things that came out of this pandemic is that we as Jamaicans wholeheartedly recognize a couple of things. We now know, well, many of us already knew, but we have been reminded of the fact that Jamaica owns what the world needs. I know at the risk of sounding overly cliched, we've used the term one love on countless times. Reggae music has that rhythmic vibe. Sometimes during some political unrest here in the United States, that they used reggae music to evoke a sense of, I guess, rebel thoughts. Sometimes you have to rattle the cage to get things done. And no matter what the time required, a part of Jamaican culture was able to provide what was needed. I think the world knows that. I think sometimes we ourselves in Jamaica, we need to be reminded of that. And as such, we need to start, well, we have been over the years packaging more of our cultural tours, going into areas that, dare I say, tend to be overlooked at times, because the world has told us that as much as they adore our beaches and our swim-up bars and our fancy hotel rooms and our villas and such delights, there is also a place for some of the other aspects of our culture. We're seeing that now. So as to answer your question in short, Jamaica 60 is giving us the opportunity to package some of these itineraries and take it to the world. I had a call today with some of my colleagues, and one of the things that we're looking to do, and you're going to be the first group to hear this, one of the things that we'll be doing as a part of the Jamaica 60 celebration is we're going to be putting together, we're going to suggest packages. Let me go back to me. So my daughter was born in Texas. She lived in Canada, and now she lives in Florida. But if you ask her, she'll tell you that she's a Jamaican. And she grew up hearing about her father eating roast corn at National Hero Circle. She grew up hearing about my love for Asham.
Yes.
And so she asked me the other day, and she's 11 years old now. She asked me the other day, she says, "Philip, Daddy, next time we're going to Jamaica, can we do some of the things that you always spoke about?"
Yeah.
And that resonated with me. So we reached out to a couple of our DMC partners, destination management companies, and asked them to put together some itineraries. They've jumped on it. And as such, Jamaica 60 is a time that we're going to flood the market with some of these itineraries that will showcase much of our culture in all aspects.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Thank you. We will, before we go to the next question, Ms. Taylor, did you have an update on who won the prize for the Southwest ticket to Jamaica?
Yes, Ambassador. And the lucky winner is Rookie Wilson.
Congratulations. Can you unmute Mr. Wilson? Let me see who that is.
Thank you.
Oh, Miss Wilson, Rookie. Okay.
Yes, thank you. Much appreciated.
Wonderful. So we'll be in touch with you, and you have a ticket to go home and celebrate with us the 60th anniversary of our event.
Thank you. Love that. Thank you.
Wonderful. So we now go to the next question from Ms. Sharon Seymour.
Hello, everyone. Ambassador Marks, thank you so much for conducting these meetings. I briefly met you several years ago here in California. We were in Long Beach, and I spoke to you about a girls group called Global Girl Media. You were so open to that. Nonetheless, let me move on. Mr. Rose, yes, I have been here in the United States for a long time. Came here as 10 years old, and now I'm a grandmother, but never forgotten my culture. And everywhere people said, I hear something there. Where are you from? I said, Jamaica. They go, oh, I love Jamaica. But where do you go to really see Jamaica? I'm tired of the beaches. Everything is beach. We want to see Jamaica. And I said, yes, Jamaica has so much that is not really advertised and promoted. And many Jamaicans themselves don't know about some of these places. We had a family reunion back in 2017, and we met a tour guide, and he posts things on Facebook. And one of the amazing things I want to see when I go back to Jamaica is the Fire Rock River. That's something that a lot of people don't know. And then I'm seeing like the cave, Green Grotto Cave. I knew about that, but there's one. But yes, people want to go, and not just Jamaicans. We're speaking of Americans. And so I here would love to partner with you. I'm in California, 40 minutes from Disneyland, and I have a Jamaican catering business that I was looking for ideas to promote Jamaica and to attract people. Because, oh, Jamaican jerk, is it sweet? I said, no, authentic Jamaican jerk is not sweet. Because you have a lot of the stores that put sweet things in because they know that people like sweet. But when they taste the authentic, and you can reduce the amount of spice you have in it, because some people can't stand the Scotch bonnet pepper. And so I'm here, and my company is called Jerklicious, and our tagline is "Taste it to delight your palate." That's one. Okay, number two, I'm not sure who would answer this question, but how can someone like myself in the diaspora partner with some of the tourism development that's happening? I would love to participate in agriculture and accommodations. Both sides of my family have land there that's just there. And lately we've all tried to come together because we're all over the US, England, New York, we're in California and Canada. And so we decided that we're going to use all this land my grandfather left that's been just sitting there in St. Elizabeth and do something with it that's community-based. And we thought about agriculture and teaching the youth and other farmers there, like I heard about the chicken farm, the lettuce, the tomato, all those things, the eggs, all those things. Yes, Jamaica can be sustainable. Jamaica has everything.
Ms. Seymour, just because of the time, but what you're saying is very interesting, and we are going to speak more about it. But what I'm getting from you is that you're asking for ways to really be involved and use some of the assets you have in Jamaica that is not being used right now. And so we here at the embassy and at the consulates in California, we are also going to be in touch with you, because we believe there are opportunities also to partner with local persons and local organizations. Persons here in the diaspora partnering with local persons can also get things moving. But let me also ask JTB to answer if there are any programs that are available to persons here in the diaspora would want to get involved by using their lands or any other asset in Jamaica, and also their business here, such as the catering business that Ms. Seymour has?
The short answer, Ambassador, is yes. Long answer would be the easiest thing to do. Feel free to email me, call my office. Anything to do with development would go through Jampro. This is something that most of us on the call, is an agency that most of us would be familiar with. But I'd be more than happy to receive any emails and direct it into the correct agency.
Can you put your email in the chat, please?
Will do. Okay.
Absolutely.
All right, we will now go to.
Thank you.
And thank you so much. We'll now go to another question. This month we had Jamaica Coffee Month, or the Blue Mountain Day, and we have some prizes just about another really wonderful product from Jamaica, Blue Mountain Coffee. And so we want to ask, I don't think persons will know what is the theme of the coffee month. I need another question. What is the other question? What's the #1 coffee in the world? Let's put that in the chat. And we have a package for you. We have 2 packages to give away because we know that more than one answers will come in. And now we go to Mr. Patrick Beckford for your question. And
thank you very much.
More questions, and then we have 2 more prizes, and we'll then call it tonight.
Okay, so my question is straight to the point. I'm sorry, my friend Minister wasn't here, but maybe somebody from JTV. The big concern I have is monstrosities that are being built on our beaches. It's very, very concerning because right now, for those who live in Florida, the South Beach, Miami area, because of the buildings of all these hotels around the South Beach area, it's impacting the coastline. So we're building all these hotels on our coastline. Is there any plans to really rethink this at this time? Because the environment is of a serious concern for me. The other question that's relating to that, in building all these monstrosities, I know of the beach authority signs I usually grew up as a kid in Falmouth, all around the beaches there, that says, in a sense, accessibility to every Jamaican to the beaches. And my concern with all these hotels, and they're locking out the Jamaicans, as a traveler, every island I've been to in the Caribbean, there's accessibility. Antigua was the latest one I stayed. Accessibility to locals. They only can't use the facilities of the hotel. Why in God's name this is happening in our country where we're locked out of maybe about 70 to 80% of our beaches, the local folks? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Beckford. Always a strong advocate. Good to see you. Mr. Rose, I hope you can put his mind at rest that as Jamaicans, we always have access to our beaches.
Absolutely. I mean, so to be perfectly frank, well, 2 things I'll say. First of all, I agree with you, Mr. Beckford. I wish the minister was here so he could answer that question. But listen, at the end of the day, I know it sounds almost too simplistic of a response, but very often our topography lends to that, to making it a tad bit difficult to get to some of these beaches. I lived on the famous 7 Mile beach of Negril. Okay, I'm a local, born and raised in Jamaica. All right, and I was on that beach every single day. Nobody ever stopped me. I had friends come in from Kingston to visit me. No one ever stopped us. If we're walking into a hotel, yes, they would stop and ask us, because listen, these are all inclusive resorts, right? But some of the other hotels that you're referring to use your words, not mine, no, some of the monstrosities, it is in keeping with what the global market has asked for. You know, I'm very proud of the fact that Jamaica is arguably the most diverse destination in the Caribbean. So you want small hotels, we have small hotels. You want villas, we have villas. You want big hotels, yeah, in big hotels. Sometimes those big hotels are taking up a lot of the land. And yes, it makes it challenging for pedestrians or even non-pedestrians, but locals to come in and enjoy the beach. They are more than welcome to use the beach. I am not an attorney, but I can tell you that I had a security guard once tell me that from 12 feet up from the watermark all the way up is called the Queen's Land. And this is a security guard telling me, so I'm saying, come and use the beach, enjoy yourself, and don't worry about it. So the fact of the matter is, you can get to the beach. Some places it is difficult because of the topography. And it's that simple.
What I'm hearing is that we have a wide variety of hotels and resorts in Jamaica. We have from the big hotels to the small villas and other places. So it's not all these big hotels blocking off the beaches. But in that vein, Mr. Rose, probably we need to also think about ensuring that places like Port Antonio and South, the Treasures, South Coast, all of those places have a different type of tourism product that is more
accessible.
Right.
Don't have that sort of big hotel look. So that's the direction it's going in, and we want to ensure that those options continue. Thanks for that question. Let me now go to the final question from Mr. Andrew Sharp.
Ambassador, as usual, really glad to see you, CG and everyone else. My question is, we know that in the world, 15% of the population is affected by disability or experience some form of disability. We know that in Jamaica just enacted and gazetted the Disability Act of 2014. And one of the key areas in the act is the right to employment. One of my questions is for I wanted to address it to the minister, but probably JTB can shed more light. Is there a program for the disability community to be able to work in the tourism industry? Are there career readiness program available for persons with disability that will be available to Jamaica? And Ambassador, I'll be reaching out to you to work with your office since we plan to roll out a career readiness program throughout the region for disability community. So I want to know if there's a program in place and are there plans for that, because we got to take care of our community. And you know, I'm a staunch supporter for persons with disability. And then the second question is the support of Diaspora organization, events and festival. Kudos to JTB for partnering, engaging and supporting Diaspora events. Will there be additional funding in place to support more Diaspora events that helps to promote the brand Jamaica right across the United States and the Diaspora and all the other rest of Diaspora in the world that offers festivals and events? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sharp, for that question. Before we go to the answer, let me just ask Ms. Taylor, did we have a winner for the question on 4 previous guests on Jamaica Connect?
Yes, we had handed that one out already, Ambassador, for the Southwest. So for the coffee packages.
Oh yes, that was okay. For
the coffee packages, the 2 winners are Mrs. Johnson and Cardella Lyon.
Can we show those persons?
Johnson, okay. Thank you.
Thank you. And so we now have, and we'll come back after we hear the answer from Mr. Rose. The last question is going to be, something related to the embassy. We want to know, when was the Embassy of Jamaica in DC established and who was the first ambassador? And you answer that question, we'll come right back to you for a week at the Ayurveda Resort in Negril, where you're from, Philip. So we have a lovely resort in Negril that you will be able to go and enjoy part of the 60th anniversary celebrations, independence celebrations. But before we, and please put your answer in the chat and let us give Mr. Rose or Ms. Harper a chance to answer those questions from Mr. Sharp.
It's a very hard question.
Definitely, but one that I won't back down from, because at the end of the day, we're all in this thing together. So, you know,
That sounds right.
Mr. Sharp, I will tell you this. I share your passion. I have relatives of mine who I would say have similar special needs. And it's subsequently something that I pay keen attention to whenever I travel. Whenever I travel on business, spreading good Jamaican love across the world, I look out for the hotels, for the transportation services, the restaurants and such delights that can cater to this segment of our population, our global population. And I'm proud to tell you that a lot of our hotels, I'm not going to lie and say all, a lot of our hotels have started making the corrections, if you will. Because as you can imagine, building codes have changed since many of our hotels were first built. Whenever hotels are now upgraded and renovated, they factor in the need to have accessible, not just rooms, but a fully accessible property. And that desire to do the right thing is not focused exclusively on what can we do for our visitors, but it has now transferred over into how can we hire some of the persons that fall into that category. I personally have seen special needs personnel, and I don't want to list the hotel because I don't want to give any one person advertising because I might miss somebody else, but one of these mega hotels that Mr. Beckford was alluding to has gone out and hired special needs staff members. And because of the personal side of it, which I alluded to earlier in my response, it really brought tears to my eyes. It brought tears to my eyes because one, it made me very proud. And two, it means that I can now invite certain members of my family to vacation with me in some of these resorts. Okay, so we're making tremendous progress in that arena. To answer your second question regarding diaspora activities, I moved back to the United States from Canada in December of 2018, and I was instructed to sink my teeth, if you will, into the diaspora market, because once again, we are always knew that you are vital to our survival and you're vital to our growth. We had some robust plans, but some of you may recall 2020 happened and we had to pull back on our face-to-face activities. So short answer is we will be ramping up our diaspora engagement. We have some activities planned certainly for this year. As far as specifically regarding your question to budget, we are government funded. And as I said before, we're very proud to be very lean. I am very mean with the government's money, the taxpayers' money. So I'm very mean with it. So if I can avoid spending extra of your dollars, we're always going to do so. So the way for us to do it is through partnership. And we've partnered up with a lot of the big brands, the Red Stripe Beers, the Appleton Rums of the world. Grace is a big partner of ours. We've leaned on ambassador or the embassies. We've leaned on Jamaican consulates and such delights. So look out for us. We'll be coming to near you very soon.
Thank you, Mr. Phillips. Appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
And I'm willing to work with you guys on, as I say, Ambassador, on the disability community to improve on those and offering training in terms of career readiness.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Always good to see you. We will now ask Ms. Taylor for the winner of this last prize of a week at the Ayurveda Resort. And I've noticed Mr. Hector Ricketts was on earlier, the chairman of the Ayurveda Resort. Is he here? Is he still here, Mr. Ricketts? Ms. Taylor, did you have the person?
Yes, Ambassador. The winner is Mr. Ian Edwards. And the answers for those who weren't sure of the answer, the embassy in Washington, D.C. was established in 1962, and the first ambassador was Sir Neville Noel Ashanai.
It was established in 1960.
That's second prize.
That is 60 years, 60 years. So we are celebrating 60 years of being here in Washington, representing Jamaica, as we
Yeah, a whole heap of people.
anniversary of independence.
Mhm.
Mr. Ricketts, I want to just recognize you as we thank you for your generosity and support. As you want to say hello?
Good evening, Ambassador, and good evening to the members of the diaspora. I'm very impressed by this evening's presentation, and I applaud you and the Minister and the PM for the work that you are doing. And to those connected tonight, let me tell you, and I'm sure you'll confirm that the Honorable Audrey Marks is truly an ambassador. And as we have invested millions of dollars in a hotel venture called Ayurveda Resort in Jamaica, we had obstacles in the beginning, and after meeting Ambassador in 2019, we have seen those obstacles disappear. Jamaica is a lovely place. Our founder, Patricia Smith, a nurse practitioner, is currently in Jamaica enjoying the sunshine. And we are nestled between some of the big hotels in the grill, but we are not intimidated at all. We are inspired, and we have great plans to invest more in Jamaica. Here in New York, we're in the nursing care business. In Jamaica, we're in the hotel business. And so I'm pleased to be here tonight, and I would look forward to the continued collaboration.
Thank you, Mr. Ricketts. And I want to, on that note, encourage as many Jamaicans here in the United States as possible who would want to invest in Jamaica to contact us. I know, let me just recognize in this event tonight that we have the deputy from the embassy, Mrs. Nicolette Williams, and the entire team here. We are here for you and to hear what you want to do, especially in this very important year. We have the consuls general that you have heard about before, Mr. Oliver Mayer, Ms. Alcian Wilson, and we have quite a few of our honored consuls all over the United States, Mr. Christopher Chaplin, Dr. Elaine Brand, Mr. Lloyd Hyde, Mrs. Joy Stevenson, Mr. David Sangster. Contact us and let us know of your interest to invest in Jamaica. Thank you, Mr. Ricketts, and we want to continue to work with you to have not one, but 2 or 3 hotels in Jamaica.
You're welcome. Certainly.
And I want to know, thank you all so very much for staying with us and having and participating in a very interesting conversation tonight. I want to really thank the Minister of Tourism and his team, Mr. Philip Rose, Mr. Harper, Mr. Kirk White, and all who participated and supported us in putting on this event tonight. Let me also thank JetBlue, who has been a tremendous partner over the years, and Southwest Airlines, the Couples Hotel, Jewel Grand, and all the other partners who are here with us, helping to celebrate Jamaica's 60. So I look forward to hearing from you all as we continue to celebrate this year and continue to push forward to become a mature country. Have a good night. Thank you.
Ambassador
Good night.
Marks.
God bless.
Ambassador Marks.
Night.
Good night.
Ambassador
Good night.
Marks.
Night.
Night.
Thank you.
Sheena.
You can hang on. The formal part of the program is over. I'm listening. What
Would you be so kind to make mention of the
Mr.
of the Black History?
Mr.
The
Matt,
Black History.
you also have such a distinctive voice. What are you asking now?
I'm asking if you could just mention about the Black History Month event that's coming up next month, that is put on by Jamaica Nationals Association.